Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I'll have guests on from the Lafayette Society of Performing Arts. Also, I'll have a guest on from New Ventures. So stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment.
Just what you're looking for. You'll find it in one of the 28 shops in downtown LaGrange. Remember old school customer service? It's still here. Not to mention that perfect gift. That's the beauty of downtown LaGrange. So come on down.
Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm being joined by ladies from the Lafayette Society of Performing Arts. I'm being joined, first of all, by the Artistic Director, Amy Orr. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
And to my far left, I have Caroline Shirley. Caroline, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, ladies, I know that this is the time of the year that we're in the festive season, the holiday season, and people are eating and going out to the movies and all the other various activities that are taking place. But you all have some events that are coming up in December that we want the public to come out and talk about. But before we talk about it, let's find out a little bit about you ladies, because I think this is the first of both of you all. Amy, I understand that you're the Artistic Director for the LSPA. Talk a little bit about your role, if you don't mind.
Yes. I am the Artistic Director of Lafayette Ballet Company.
Okay.
And it is an offshoot or in partnership with Lafayette Dance Academy, which is our training facility, all located at LSPA, downtown on Bull Street. The Nutcracker is the first production, I believe, that LSPA ever presented over 30 years ago. And it's come from Price Theater now to Troop High. And we're very excited about starting the holiday season up next weekend.
Okay, well, very good. And Caroline, I understand that you're a student over at LaGrange High. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a senior at LaGrange High School. I have basically grown up at the dance studio and at LSPA and everything, and it's basically, it's very special to be in this show every year, and it's what I look forward to every festive season.
Okay, and understand, as we were talking before we came on air, tell us when you started acting.
I started when I was 2, and I'm almost 18 now, so it'll be 16 years at the end of the year.
Okay, oh my goodness. And we're going to talk a little bit more what inspired you to want to become an actor or acting in the various plays that you're performing in now. And Amy, I understand that your role kind of grew here in the LaGrange area, because I learned also that you were dancing in Atlanta. Talk a little bit about that for us.
My husband Matt and I moved here in 1997, and he took over a State Farm agency on the Square, so we're both working on the Square, which is great. Okay. I was still dancing in the Atlanta area and also teaching for Atlanta Ballet for a good number of years. So I started here probably working 2 days a week, and that grew to 4. And once I retired from dancing, and we had our 2 children, I'm here 7 days a week. And so I became a teacher here, an assistant director here, and about 6 years ago took on the full artistic director position at Lafayette Ballet.
Well, very good. You know, for our community, most people may not necessarily realize the artistic values, the museums that we have here, and I know that the LSPA, in conjunction with other, like you said, the ballet, have a number of things that you all perform throughout the year, to get the public to come out. If there was something that you all could say to the public to help them to understand that arts is a very important part of development of children, what would it be, Amy?
I think the vibrant arts community here in LaGrange is amazing for a town of this size. Number one, it's great for the community to see, but it's also wonderful that the community has outlets for performance from children all the way up through adults, in dance, in music, in theater, and the Azalea Storytelling Festival is here, and it brings in so many wonderful people for LaGrange residents to hear, and it draws from all over the Southeast. So it's just amazing to have so many outlets for the performing arts in a small town, and I think be involved as an audience member and get involved maybe as a performer, because those options are here. And we also have wonderful education opportunities at LSPA in dance and theater and music. So I urge people to come and take a class and see. It might be something they never knew they would like to join in.
Well, very good. You know, talking about the range there, because I understand in the Nutcracker, you all were telling me there's like 190 performers, and the range of categories there, from kindergarten all the way to high school and community. Talk a little bit about that before, and then we're going to jump into talking about the Nutcracker, if you don't mind.
The entry level role in the Nutcracker is the soldier, and those are usually done by 5- and 6-year-olds, kindergartners. In fact, Carolyn is one of our student teachers, and she has some of those dancers today. What would you say about the kindergartners and their evolution, or their ability to evolve over about 2 months of rehearsal?
They're very rambunctious. I can say that, but yeah, they're so sweet. But yeah, they know it after a while, after 2 months. But it takes a bit to get them to focus.
They like to fight with those swords.
They do.
You know, and it works. It works really well. It channels that great energy, that real childhood energy, and it's great for them, those teachers that are student teachers within our program, to share the stage with the little dancers and even the middle school and on up, and they really see an evolution of their training and where they can go. So it's very special to have a teacher on stage with them.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Nutcracker. People have seen and heard this for years and years and years. Talk a little bit about the show here, ladies. Both of you can jump in at any moment. Talk a little bit about the show itself, but not giving it too much away, because we want the public to come out to see it. Talk a little bit about the show, if you don't mind.
It is a classic Nutcracker. We have, like I said, almost 190 performers, 2 guest artists, and some community members. Carol Kane is joining our cast this year as the Countess de Lafayette. She is Clara and Fritz's eccentric aunt, we'll say, and just come out and see where that goes.
All right.
Our guest artists are James LaRussa, formerly of the Atlanta Ballet, and he's now dancing in the Atlanta area, and Raul Pinado, who is actually Carolyn's partner in the Arabian. I'll let her talk a little more about that, the Arabian scene, where that befalls in the show.
Arabian is in the Land of Sweets, and it's the Arabian coffee, and every I guess character in the Land of Sweets has kind of like a sweet or a drink or whatever, and so yeah, it's very wistful and kind of just like smoky, and just because basically the lead Arabian, she's a genie, and she comes out of, there's a lamp, and she has 2 sisters, and the sisters want the lead male, Raul, my partner, to basically fall in love with the lead Arabian, and she comes out of the lamp and everything, and then eventually goes off with him. And so
a little story within
there's
the story.
There's a story within the story,
And it's one of the nicer parts of the Land of the Sweets, because it's exotic. It's a little different.
Okay, well, very good. Now, and understand this year, because a number of the shows have been actually performed at the Lafayette Society of Performing Arts. These shows are actually going to be performed at the Troupe High Fine Arts Theater. Talk about the dates, if you don't mind, for us, Amy.
Sure. We are at 7 p.m. on December the 2nd, that's Friday. And then on December the 3rd, which is a Saturday, 2 and 7 p.m. And then Sunday, the 4th of December, 2 p.m. So it'll be 7-2-7-2.
Okay, 7-2-7-2. All right. Now, let me, and a lot of times I always ask this question, because I know that you say you already have 190 performers. Is there an opportunity for others that might want to come in and help out, or perhaps audition for a later performance? Is that an opportunity?
Yeah, really, there's really 3 opportunities I think of quickly. First of all, you can certainly help out. There are costumes to be sewn. There are sets and props to be made. Backstage and front of stage help. You can also come and be a community performer, and we'll probably have some need of that in March. We will be presenting the first ever full-length Swan Lake. And that will be in March at Troupe High again. So we'll be needing performers there. We'll be needing performers for Nutcracker next year. And of course, if you're interested in taking some classes, just contact us at LSPA, the Lafayette Dance Academy. We'll be glad to get you enrolled so you can be on your way to dancing.
All right, well, very good. Caroline, if you had something to, or if your friends, and you've been acting since 2 years of age, do you sometimes use your acting abilities on your friends?
I don't know. I guess it probably just comes naturally sometimes.
Caroline
Yeah,
Caroline has a distinct talent, but something that she has worked on, and that's her flexibility.
Oh, okay.
I would say that sometimes that's kind of an interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of people like to see me show off my flexibility.
Bend and contort.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's really.
So you're bent right now.
A lot of people say it's creepy.
Okay. A contortionist.
But
huh?
I'm very.
Okay.
But I've worked on it for years. I love my flexibility. That's my favorite part of my body. Just.
I wish I'd have known that before we came on there. But
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
You got to come to the Nutcracker to see
You have
it,
to come to the-
and it will be
okay.
in full force.
An Arabian is very flexible and very bendy.
Definitely a
And
vehicle
so it
for
really
her
shows
talent.
off
Okay.
the flexibility.
Very good. I did not know, so we definitely have to come
yeah.
to see that. Now, we talked about the times and the location. I don't know if we covered the ticket prices. Let's make sure we get that out there as well,
Yes.
Amy.
The ticket prices range from $10 to $22,
Okay.
and that goes from student tickets all the way up to reserved orchestra tickets. So there's a price range in there to meet everybody's needs.
Okay.
I would say there are no bad seats in that theater.
Absolutely.
It's really a very well laid out theater, and we're appreciative to get to perform there.
Absolutely. Now, is there a website that can go online or just
Yes.
purchase at the door?
Yes, you can always purchase at the door, but we have had sellouts in the past.
Okay.
So we urge people to go ahead and they can go to lsparts.org, which is like Lafayette Society for Performing Arts.org.
Okay.
And you can always call LSPA, or you can run by our office on Bull Street. We're open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 4. And just give us a call. We'll set you up with some tickets.
Okay, well, very good. Well, I'm sure that as we continue to enjoy the family and movies and things of that nature, we want to get out too. So I'm hoping that the viewing audience will take advantage of the Nutcracker and come on out to Troop High Fine Arts Theater and take advantage of it. The second at 7 o'clock, the third at 2 and 7, and then the fourth at 2 p.m. So once again, ladies, I want to thank both of you all for being on the show very much today, and we definitely want to come out and make sure we see Caroline in her role, okay?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you all
Thank
very
you.
much. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Weekend in just a moment. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Now I am being joined by Mike Wilson, Sales and Marketing Director from New Ventures. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you, Mike, and I think this is the first time that I've had an opportunity to sit down with you here on the show, but our paths have definitely crossed so much in the community. Mike, before we get started, I just want, New Ventures has been around since 1972, I understand. Tell us a little bit about New Ventures, and then I want you to tell us about your role there, because there's a lot of people may not necessarily know what New Ventures does in our community. So open up by telling us a little bit about New Ventures.
New Ventures, like you said, was founded in 1972 by a group of parents who had disabled children who were aging out of the school system and really didn't have a place to go or do anything. So they formed New Ventures and started working on projects. Like they checked the lights in the city, Christmas lights from time to time. They grew English ivy and tomatoes. My first experience with them was at LaGrange College. I did a took a PE class on disability awareness, I think, and did a month down there. But and then I worked at what was the Sing store downtown, and I can remember them coming around and selling tomatoes through there. But the mission hasn't changed a whole lot since 1972. We have expanded from training disabled citizens to training anybody with barriers to employment and training them for successful employment in the future.
Okay, all right. Now, when you say barriers to employment, talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Barriers to employment can take a broad range of stuff. It can be people that have come out of the transition center that have been incarcerated for minor infractions.
Okay.
We can't work with major things that they've been in jail for. But it can be the mother who's worked in the home for the last 20 years and does not have computer skills or have work skills.
Okay.
It can be students that have dropped out of school that, fortunately we probably grew up with parents that made sure that we were going, that we worked like they worked. And they knew how to be respectful. They knew how to have the soft skills that are needed in today's work environment. So training just in those soft skills, getting people to show up on time, dress correctly, be respectful.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Now, as a marketing and sales director, talk a little bit about your role, and then we want to get into something else that New Ventures is branching out into, if you don't mind.
In about 1993, I think, Dave Miller, who is the CEO and director, came along and realized that in order for New Ventures to be sustainable, we really needed to work with industry a lot more. So my job, and I've been there about 5 years, I had worked in the for-profit world, and Dave was nice enough to counsel me on some things and offer me a position at New Ventures. But my job is to go out and find industry and other opportunities for New Ventures to train on. We don't really take government money. There's no free ride. We try to earn every penny that we get. So that means that we have to go out to Interface, Milliken, Duracell, all the major industries around LaGrange and around in the region, actually, and find things that we can do to train people on.
Absolutely. In talking about training, I know at once upon you and I were talking before we came on, New Ventures used to have host breakfasts there to kind of introduce the public to New Ventures. Talk a little bit, and I want to get into what we want to talk about, but I think y'all do so many wonderful things.
Thank you.
Talk a little bit about the recycling of used materials like the leather from Delta and some of the other stuff that you all
We've been very fortunate to partner with Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines, when a leather seat gets worn out on a plane, and worn out means that little mesh pocket in the back, when it gets worn, they take that seat cover completely off, put a new one on. The leather was going to the landfill or it was being burned. So we pick up about 4 totes, which is about 300 seat covers every 2 weeks from Delta. And then also life vests. Life vests have to come off every plane every 5 years because there's a CO2 cartridge in there that can leak down. So we pick up thousands of life vests. We're able to repurpose that material. We've got some very talented ladies who are sewing, and they cut them apart and they sew them into messenger bags and wine bags and pocketbooks, and cosmetic bags, and they're sold all over the country now. And Delta Airlines is becoming one of our best customers because they're giving them back to people. The frequent flyers and that sort of thing. Then we also are partnering with the City of LaGrange to take corrugated. If you go to Granger Park and you put your corrugated in after Christmas, it comes over to New Ventures, and we're able to sort through that and bale it up and then put money back that we get from that back into training.
Absolutely. And all of that is being said because New Ventures has a lot of tentacles out into the communities, and one of those tentacles is at this location where the recycling is done. Talk about that location, and then we're going to talk about another service that you all are offering out of that facility.
So about a year and a half ago, we were very fortunate. It was the building that was built in 1968 as Signal Knitting Mills in the Industrial Park, 150 East Lucan. It was recently owned by Custom Organics. It's gone through a couple of different tenants or different owners, I guess. But New Ventures was able to buy that building. We were in much need of expanding where we were. We have been, like I said, we've been on Fort Drive since 1972, and we had really outgrown that with all the things going on. So it's a 131,000 square foot building that we were able to buy and start renovating a little bit at a time.
Okay, all right. And one of the things that you all are offering out of that location now is something that the community is definitely in need of, and that is a warming center. Talk a little bit about that, Mike.
We worked with the City of LaGrange, John Thomas, the fire marshal, in renovating the building. And last year, it was the possibility of needing another location for a warming center. Three Life Church stepped up, and we did not need to use this building, but we were able to work out about 3,000 square feet that could have been used if needed. And he worked with us getting that up and running. Several people in the community donated and helped renovate that on a short-term basis. So that's what we did last year.
Okay.
Now, this past year, about midsummer, Chief Deckmar called and said, we've really got to address this warming center issue and what we're going to do in 2016-17. So he got a core group of people together, and we started planning back in, I want to say, July. And the first thing was to identify a location. And we looked at several locations in LaGrange, looked for several different options, and New Ventures was there, and Dave Miller and I were at the table, and we said, well, we can be a backup.
Okay.
If you can't find anything by August 15th, we'll be the backup location. And nothing was found, and so we identified about 4,000 square feet in the building that we were not ready to renovate yet. And Chief Deckmar said, okay, what's it going to take to renovate it and get it ready? And the city stepped up and put in money. New Ventures has put in money, the Callaway Foundation's put in money, Charter Foundation's put in money, and several individuals have, and we've been able to renovate this 4,000 square feet. New paint, new carpet, new flooring, renovated bathrooms with 6 showers, and separate quarters for men and women for sleeping arrangements.
Absolutely. You know, it's such a wonderful thing that you all are doing, because as we sat here in this warmth of the studio now, the temperature this morning was like 37 degrees. And you think going from 80 degrees days to down to 37 degree nights and stuff, and then you're out there all night, people need a warm place to just kind of lay their head and to shower up and get a decent meal. And talking about the warming center, what are y'all hours of operation, Mike?
Well, we open at 40 degrees.
Okay.
And then 5 o'clock it opens, and 10 o'clock everybody has to be into the warming center, and that closes if they're in by 10. The only way that you get into the warming center after 10 is if emergency personnel bring you.
Okay.
So the police can call and say, we're bringing somebody in, we found somebody that needs that. But then we close the next morning at 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And
so it's 8 a.m. out and
yeah, they're out, back
okay.
out and about.
Okay, all right. Now, and I know that in the past, there's been a number of people from our area. Do you all serve individuals from tri-county areas, or how is that?
We do.
With? Okay.
We serve people in Meriwether County,
Okay.
Heard County, some out of Harris County,
Okay.
and of course Troup County.
Oh, okay, all right. Now, and of course, when you're talking about dealing with people, I'm sure there's always a need for volunteers or extra hands, things like that.
Absolutely.
If there's someone that was listening and they wanted to get involved, maybe to bring a meal or whatever the case may be, how can they do that?
Well, let me since you brought up meal, let me say that one of the things that we decided early on was that Yvonne Lopez with Ark Refuge Ministries here in LaGrange, and they cook every day for the individuals there. So she volunteered to handle all of the meals for the warming center. So any meals, if you're donating food, if you want to do that, they need to go through Ark Refuge to do that instead of just bringing them to the warming center and dropping them off, because that can create a problem. Just stuff sitting around not getting eaten. We want people to use what's brought.
Absolutely.
So it's easier to do that.
Okay.
But for individuals that want to get involved, volunteering. I'll use a phrase from a good friend of mine in Atlanta that runs a homeless shelter. It says it's better, and his tagline is that it's better to be with than to do for. Meaning that it's great. We appreciate the food. We appreciate people dropping off blankets and stuff, but really volunteers are needed to come and just be with people.
Okay. Just that human intervention it makes
it is.
so much meaning.
I won't mention their name, but I went to the homeless center in Atlanta with an individual here in LaGrange, and she fought tooth and nail not to go, didn't want to go, didn't know what to expect. And when it was all said and done, I looked at her on a Saturday afternoon, and she's sitting there with a lady with 2 children, and it was really just 2 mothers. but this lady had been homeless for over a year, living on the streets with her children, and she was just being with her. Right. She was just there, and then found out that really they have a lot in common because they're just two mothers. Two mothers. But to get involved, I encourage people to either come by Lucan during 150 East Lucan during the hours of operation. They can sign up there. There's a form. They can go to tchomeless.com, and there's a tab on that page, Troup County Homeless. To get involved. They can fill that out, and they've got all the forms there, and they'll be, you can print them out and bring them, or you can submit them there, and they'll get submitted to Michelle Kitchens, who's handling all the volunteers. Okay.
Well, very good. Well, Mike, we want to thank you, and don't want to start naming the name of Dave Miller and all of the staff there at New Ventures for what you all are doing, by way of recycling and by way of reaching out into the community to provide a location that the citizens of our community can come in and get a place out of the cold, and then also opportunity to get a meal over at Art Refuge as well. So thank you all very much for what you all do in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Weekend. Just a moment.
Nobody wants to be stopped by a law enforcement officer.
Everyone wants to feel safe.
So we've trained our officers to first listen and then explain.
We ask if you have contact with one of our officers, you listen, give him an opportunity to explain, comply with his requests, and if there's a problem, contact us so that we can investigate your complaint.
Listen, explain, comply, then complain.
Our safety and yours matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining City Week this week. My guests have been from the Lafayette Society of Performing Arts, the artistic director, Amy Orr, and also Carolyn Shirley, as they talked about the upcoming Nutcracker play that will be performed at the Troup High Fine Arts Theater December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Tickets are $10 up to $22. So if you want to get a ticket, give them a call, and by all means, go out and support them in the play, The Nutcracker. Also, I had on from New Ventures, the marketing and sales director, Mike Wilson, as he talked about the warming center located on Lucan Industrial Drive. By all means, if you have additional questions, give him a call. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to help. And if you want to volunteer, give him a call as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed these interviews. And as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.
Why United Way? Because in some way, everyone in our community is touched by your donation to United Way of West Georgia. Yes, everyone. United Way helps 25 local agencies touch thousands of lives, even yours. To cause so many good things to happen, these organizations must have volunteers. Fortunately, more than 2,300 local volunteers are now giving time to the 25 local organizations that United Way of West Georgia helps support. Yes, more than 2,300 volunteers. But more are needed. Please volunteer your time, as well as your financial support. You'll be astonished at what you'll receive in return.
Troup County Schools. A place where you can learn and grow.
A place where teachers care.
A place where family and school come together.
A place where learning matters.
A place preparing students for a bright future.
Whether going to college
or into the workforce.
Troup County Schools. Preparing
students
for success today.
Just what you're looking for. You'll find it in one of the 28 shops in downtown LaGrange. Remember old school customer service? It's still here. Not to mention that perfect gift. That's the beauty of downtown LaGrange. Downtown LaGrange is where Santa shops, so come on down.